Well, welcome to Mentoring 101. So please, if our panelists could turn on their camera so we can see you. There you go. And we're waiting for our Team 4400's mentors also. So okay, well, in the meantime, I'm just gonna introduce the mentor I can see on my screen right now. So please, everyone, welcome Luan Heimlich. So welcome, Luan. She's the director of Norco Regionals and a former mentor for Team 3132 Thunder Down Under. On that side of the planet, she's also the founder and director of First Australia, and she's been a mentor for First Lego League, and today she's a mentor for Team 1678 Citrus Circuits. So welcome, Luan.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being here in warm-up. And also we have from Team 4400, I think she's already here with us, Paulina Maynez. She's a mentor for the business communication and other areas of Team 4400, and she graduated high school in 2021. So welcome, Paulina.
Thank you. It's nice to having me here.
So we're still waiting for two more panelists. They should be on their way. So as soon as they join us in the webinar, we'll make sure to introduce them. That is Elizabeth Calef and Joe Johnson. They should be on their way. But let's just start. This is one of the first times I get a chance to be with so much talented people, including you, Luan. So again, thank you for being here in warm-up. And the main goal for this roundtable is to get to know your experience as mentors, and of course, being how you have been inspired by teenagers and by the students in the teams you've been part, and of course, teach these new generations and the rookie teams that are watching us how to become successful mentors in the future. So I'm gonna make a series of questions in the same order, so you can give me your insight and your experience on that specific topic. So I don't know if first of all, each one of you could give us a little introduction. Oh, I think Elizabeth Calef is with us right now. I don't know if you can hear us, Elizabeth. I can see you in my screen.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Okay, so welcome, Elizabeth. We're about to begin, but of course, welcome to warm up. And everyone, may I introduce to you Elizabeth Calef. She's a founding mentor of FRC Team 88, TJ2 from Bridgewater, and with a rookie year of 1996. And this is your 28th year in First. You're the chairperson of the WFA committee and also first senior mentor for Eastern MA and RI. And listen up, everyone. Elizabeth is and was the first person to ever earn the Woody Flowers Award. So we are delighted to have you with us today. Welcome to Warm Up. And I was telling Luan and Paulina, Elizabeth, our other panelists today, that there's going to be a series of questions, and I want to know your insight as mentors, so you can inspire the kids that are watching you on how to become a successful mentor. So may we begin by just you telling us a little bit of your experience and how you got involved in First. So we can go first Luan, and then Elizabeth, and then Paulina. So Luan, the floor is all yours.
Sure. I actually started mentoring an FRC team back in New Hampshire in 1994. I was pregnant with my first daughter, who is now she's gone through the entire first program. She kind of jokes around that she started when she was -4 months old. But I was working for a small company in Manchester, and the president of the company knew this gentleman named Dean Kamen, who was working on this new crazy idea called First. And so he got our company involved, and we went and we helped out that first year in 1994. Well, not the first year, but one of the first years in 1994. But then I kind of took a break because I had a baby. And so I really got involved seriously in 2004 when my baby was 10. And we started doing First Lego League, and then we did FRC, we've done FTC. But that's kind of how I got started back in the day.
Hey, well, that's such a journey for your children specifically. So, and well, Elizabeth, you got 28, no, 30,
28.
28 years in first, related
Yep.
to first. So how did you first get involved?
I was a physics teacher at Bridgewater Rainham Regional High School in Massachusetts, and I had previously been a device design engineer at IBM. And when I came to teach physics at Bridgewater Rainham, this is going to sound archaic, but there were no computers, no anything. And to come from a place like IBM and come to try and teach physics without anything was a little bit interesting. So I started a program with, we got a letter in the mail from Johnson & Johnson that they wanted to work with our high school in some capacity. And so I jumped on that and answered it. And we started up a student engineering awareness program where kids would work with engineers and see what they were doing during the, for work. And a couple of the groups actually signed non-disclosure agreements, which they thought were really cool and things. And so we were doing that, and I wasn't able to accommodate all the kids that wanted to do it. And the kids would work with the engineers, come back and present to our physics class, and the physics kids thought it was really cool. So through Johnson & Johnson, Dean Kamen, in his way, sent out a letter to all the CEOs and things, and it trickled down to us because we already kind of had a partnership going. And I can still remember our engineer saying, "So Liz, what do you think? Want to try this?" And 28 years later, we're still doing it. And I have just seen kids explode with FIRST. I just think it's such an awesome experience to give kids so that they can see that science can be really fun, and it's worth the effort in high school to prepare themselves in math and science to get going. So that's why I'm still with it. I think it's a really important program, and my teammates all agree with that too. So I'm still with Team 88. I am still the lead mentor of 88, though I'm trying to back that a little bit so that it stays on after I do. So
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. And well, Paulina, I'm gonna make a guess and say you don't have that many years as a mentor, but just if you could tell us how you first got involved with FIRST, I think back in high school. So please.
Yeah, well, when I was in elementary school, I went to an activity of STEM that Cervantes organized, and I really liked it. So when I was in high school, I entered to the robotics team, and it was I think 2018, and I graduated 2021, the middle of the pandemics, and I stayed. I mean, I really liked the project. I liked it as a member of a team and as a mentor because I want to support the new generations. I know they have the potential, and I know what it feels to be like a member of a FIRST team. So I really believe in this project.
Yes, and well, as you can see, everyone, we wanted to make such a mix of real experienced mentors and just a new mentor to see how well, although the background for each one of them is different, somehow the sense of being a mentor has always been the same. So the next 3 questions in the script are: how did you decide to become a mentor? What does it mean to you? And what are your functions? So if you're okay, I would like to combine those 3 questions. So it would be, why did you decide to become a mentor? Then what does it mean to you to be a mentor? And what are your functions in the team you're mentoring in, or the teams you've mentored? So if we're all set, we'll go again with Luan, and then Elizabeth and Paulina.
Feel like this is unfair. I have to go first every time.
We can
I
switch
like
it
it.
after this.
Yeah. So why did I decide to become a mentor? It was a really personal decision for me. If we look in 2004, I had a child who would barely speak. She was incredibly shy, and we had tried everything to get her to come out of her shell a little bit and to be able to really function in the world. We tried dance, we tried music, we tried piano, we tried soccer, we tried t-ball, we you name it, we tried it, and nothing really made her come out of her shell. And then we found FIRST, and her life changed. And she speaks, she's she's incredibly successful at this point. And it is purely because she participated in the FIRST program. So having watched that transformation happen, I really want to see FIRST available to every child. I know FIRST isn't for every child, but I think every child should have that opportunity. And the only way to make that happen is to have mentors, because FIRST is built around mentors. It's about that mentor-student relationship. It's about helping these kids, finding out where they are in their own personal journey, and then figuring out where they want to go and helping them make that happen. So it's very, very personal for me as to why I do this. And what it means to me is it means the world. I mean, this has been, sort of my passion for the last couple of decades. We moved to Australia in 2009, and FIRST wasn't there. FIRST Lego League was there for about 1 year. There were about 20 teams. And our goal really was to just have an FRC team for a few years to make sure that my children had the opportunity, but it didn't quite turn out that way. FIRST sort of grew. I left Australia a couple of months ago, and we were at about 2,000 teams. So, the goal was to get it to every school in Australia. We didn't quite get there. They're still working on it. Just as that's the goal here in America as well. She said, I'm in Northern California now. So it's a little different than FIRST Australia, but I'm loving it anyway. And functions of a mentor, I think that, the way I view it is we really are there to support the students. Kids need a safe space to try things and to be in charge of things and potentially fail at things. And FIRST is that perfect opportunity. So I think the function is to be there to support and to guide, but to let the kids and the students really have the opportunity to have a real go at running a small business. It just turns out that business is building a robot in some ways. It's helping other people in some ways. So I think that's my sort of shortest answer.
Okay, thank you, Luan. And well, Elizabeth?
All right. I don't know. This is hard, isn't it, Luan? Putting this into words, it's interesting. Why did I decide to be a mentor? As I told you, I started a smaller program, and I saw how my students loved it. And my son came onto my team a few years after I had started my team. And so I also got to see him go through the whole program, and he's now a CTO of a very successful startup company. So, I mean, he, to see, like Luan said, to see it happen for someone that you're close to at home is also very interesting and powerful. What does it mean to be a mentor? In schools, it takes people to make things happen. I just thought it was important. What I saw missing was the kids didn't understand that science and math was more than hard courses. It was fun, and that you could actually make things with it. And as Dean says, it's a sport that everyone can succeed at. And I saw it that way myself. I think it's fascinating to build things. My son and I built a computer on our kitchen table. That was really fun. I was scared to death because it was expensive, but it was really fun. And when it actually worked, that was really fun. And I wanted to bring that kind of an experience to our kids. I quickly realized in FIRST that as a teacher, I couldn't do it all myself. And that's the model of FIRST. They make it so hard that you can't do it yourself. And you bring up on board these talented mentors from all walks of life. And you introduce these kids to these guys and girls and incredible people. And kids get to start to envision their future, maybe along similar paths, maybe not. I had one girl I remember vividly. She hated engineering. She just and I'm like, uh-oh. But she loved the marketing part of it and all the rules. And she went into law based on her first experience. So that was really cool. And I think just as valuable, you get to try on a few different careers and see what you want to do. My function, I am the head coach. Right now, we're fortunate enough to have about 30 mentors on our team. I always keep bringing people aboard, figuring that the more we divide the work, it makes it easier for everybody, and it gives the kids more one-on-one experience. So I try to just be the glue on the team to keep everybody going in the same direction. And I got to tell you, 28 years, this is my 28th kickoff coming up, and I can't wait. Like, what is this game? It's just ridiculous, Been sending out these messages, and I don't know. It's just very exciting, and what are they going to do to us? So that's why I do it.
What one would believe that by now, 28 years after, you wouldn't be surprised at kickoff, but I think you are surprised.
Yep.
Okay. And well, Paulina?
Well, I think this is also like personal, because I know the impact that first had on me, because I realized that I changed a lot. And I know that this situation, it happens to a lot of kids that enter to the first world. So I don't know, I think I really wanted to pass this passion to others, because I really had a really big support in my mentors also. So I wanted to do the same to others and inspire them like other person inspired me, for example. I think it's really important, because it's not only like, they teach you something and knowledge is really valuable, but they also teach you like how you can impact others' lives, and the outreach that your team makes is also like really, really important in your community. And I think that's something that really changed me and marked me. And the thing that I do as a mentor, I think that it's most like being a support for them, because I know that in that moment I wanted that support. So I think that's basically all of it, like to have that support and to guide them.
Okay. And I think we have Joseph with us right now. So can you hear us, Joseph? Oh, I think your mic is turned off. Yep.
Yes, I can hear you. I am completely sorry. Confused old man.
That was on me.
Yeah.
I thought we were coming in an hour later, so I just happened to come
All right.
on.
I was actually in the meeting, and then I left because I was like, oh, Liz said, anyway, I'm sorry. I am really sorry.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. So everyone, I'm happy to introduce, before we continue, Joe Johnson. He is the co-founder and mentor of FRC. He was the co-founder and mentor of Team FRC 47 from 1995 to 2007. He is a parent and mentor of Team 573 from 97 to 98. He was a mentor of 2849 in 2011. He is co-founder, mentor, and parent of 3958 from 2012 to 2014, and a mentor of 248 from 2015 to 2017. And today you are a mentor of FRC Team 88. So that's basically your just so people can know you a little bit more, because I should mention that most of the people that are watching us right now are both Portuguese, Brazilian, and Mexican teams. So most of them are rookies as well, so they don't get a chance to meet this fascinating people you are and how experienced you are first. So it's nice to have you, Joseph. We're in the middle of questions, so we are so happy to get you in, to get your answers. And right now, I would like to put on a table the topic of the problems you have to face as a mentor and how you manage stressful situations. So if you're okay with that, I'm gonna give you the next 3 questions, and you can combine the answer as you wish.
Sure.
So that would be, what are the qualities a mentor should have? What are the qualities a mentor should have? How does a mentor manage stressful situations for team members? And how does a mentor should manage conflicts inside the team? So it's the qualities of a mentor and how you manage stress and how you manage the conflicts inside the team. And I'm sure even as a student, as a team member, you realize that problems and stress is going to be always there. So as a mentor, I guess it's even worse because you get to know everyone's problems. So how do you deal with that? And maybe I could start with you, Paulina, so we can switch the order and we'd go Paulina, Elizabeth, Luan, and then Joseph.
Sure. As you mentioned, Ricky, yeah, as a teammate, you really like have this stressful right there all the time. But I think that it's important that you know as a teammate and that as a mentor, you can let the teammates know that they have someone who they can rely on. They can like tell them your problems, and I know it's like mental health, like the past conference. It's a really important topic because right now there are like a lot of situations that make them stress. So I think that it's important for the teammates to know that they can rely on someone, not only for work, but also like in their personal lives. And as a mentor, it's really important to let them know this topic, that it's really important.
Okay, thank you,
And
Paulina.
I don't know
Oh,
which one's the other question.
yeah, it's okay. It's all about the stress and the problems you face in the team. But Elizabeth, are you okay with the questions? Would you like me to repeat them or?
Muted.
I think you're muted, yeah. There you go.
Okay. Qualities, how to manage stress and how to manage conflicts on the team. I think I got it. The qualities a mentor should have, as we bring new mentors onto our team, I try to talk to them and get a read on what they think FIRST is. And there's a lot of different places that people come from when they come to FIRST. And we try to talk that over so that they're not just hit with a situation maybe that they don't feel comfortable with. We have no problem with mentors guiding students in FIRST. Students do not have to make everything themselves, but we want to give them as much of the experience as we can, and we want to keep them safe. So we want to excite them about science and math, but we want to also guide them so that they can have some measure of success. I think it's really not the model when you just let a student go ahead, whether it works or it doesn't work, and they just come out with something that just is not properly engineered. We are here to guide them, we're here to inspire them, and we're here to show them the fun of this incredible technology, the math and the science. And I think that we need to guide them and not let them just go follow a path that isn't productive. How to manage stress, a big part of it is don't let it happen in the first place. It's going to happen. We have deadlines, we have money stuff, we have all kinds of travel snafus, we have pandemics, we have all kinds of things going on. There's going to be stress, but you just kind of I try to have a big view and try to see what is happening around my team and, where people are getting bothered by things. And I try to head things off as I can see them coming, but you don't see everything. So how to manage it is try to minimize the places that it happens. But when stress happens, when someone has trouble with it, which turns into a conflict on the team, you got to deal with it, and you can't just hide it. I have shown myself over and over again that you just cannot avoid it, because that doesn't work. You need to talk to the persons involved. And my favorite thing is to get them together and have them both see that, each one of them has a side of this situation, and you're all going to you all have the same goals, because, we've talked about it at the beginning of the season. We talk about it at kickoff. We talk about it, in all of the designs. We all, show them that they have similar goals and that they both have valid opinions, and really try to talk it through. Sometimes that doesn't take on the first time around. Sometimes it needs more talking. And you just the standard things, the standard human things. Show the people respect. Show that you respect their intelligence, that you understand that they have an opinion, and it's important. And then try to come to with all the parties involved, come to some kind of an agreement about how to go forward. So talk a lot. That's I guess the way I've gotten through these things, and then always laugh. Keep it fun, keep it light. I've always said that first is way too much work if it isn't fun. So you
Okay,
gotta keep
thank
it
you.
fun.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Luan?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself there. I totally agree with everything that the panelists have said so far. When I think about qualities for a mentor, I really go back to what FIRST is. It's about inspiring kids. And the goal is not to win. The goal is not to build a great robot. The goal is to have these students want to go and do more science and technology and be passionate about changing the world. And so when we talk to new mentors and we look for new mentors, we're always looking for those people who really are looking to help these kids have a better life and to make a positive impact on the world. Yes, we want people who have technical skills. It's great if they know software or CAD or mechanical engineering. That's wonderful. But that's probably not the critical quality that we look for. We really look for people with the right attitude in working with the kids, and that they realize that they're not going to go in and build a robot. They're going to help guide the kids to build a robot, or to write a business plan, or to do marketing material, or whatever it might be. So that's sort of the qualities. When we talk about stress and conflict, I've got plenty of experience there. That seems to be the thing that is the hardest. And my advice would probably be just try to keep it in perspective, right? Realize that, again, this is not building the world's greatest robot. This is about helping these kids get through the process and have them learn how to manage stress and how to learn how to manage conflict in this safe space before they get out in the real world. It is okay to fail. I agree with Elizabeth that you shouldn't set them up to fail and you want to guide them, right? But if they really, it is okay to have some failures along the way, because kids also have to learn how to handle that and how to grow from that and how to persevere after that. That's probably the most important thing. And keep it fun. We take lots of breaks. We have lots of food. We have lots of cookies. Probably not all that healthy, but when we talk about stress, it does help if you can say, you know what, let's take a break. And in Australia, build season, as in Brazil, is in the middle of the summer. So we always have popsicles or ice blocks or something in the freezer. It's like, let's just take a break, grab an ice block, let's go outside and kick a ball around for 10 minutes. And then we can come back inside and maybe the stress will come down a little bit. So that's sort of, how we would manage stressful situations. When it comes to conflicts, first, life is all about relationships. It's all about figuring out how to manage those relationships. There are going to be some people you like, and there are going to be some people you don't like. That's just the way it goes. There are going to be decisions you agree with. There are going to be decisions you don't agree with. That's how it goes as well. But communication is absolutely critical, and trying to understand the other person's point of view. We try really hard when things get very heated to make it as objective as possible and to try to really create a situation where no one loses. So it's not a yes, no kind of situation. Can we expand the pot so that there's a compromise that is going to make everybody happy without sacrificing the intent of whatever the decision was made? So you don't want a mediocre a mediocre answer that appeases everybody, but at the same time, you want everyone to feel like they've been heard. There's a really great resource out there that FRC recommends. I went through it myself. I'll put it out there. It's called Crucial Conversations. If you haven't read this book, it's life-changing. It will really help you understand how to have a conversation. They define a crucial conversation as a conversation that has high stakes that matters. That's normally when the tensions get high. And it gives you some really great techniques on how to do that. Things like when you're in a situation where you're having a conversation or a conflict, really think about the truths that are in that conversation rather than the stories that you might be telling yourself. So you might be saying, oh, you know what? Joe really isn't going to like this idea because he doesn't like me. Sorry, Joe. I've never met Joe in my life. But instead of having that story in my head of he doesn't like me and that's why he doesn't like this particular solution, look at the truth of the matter. Maybe the truth of the matter is we can only intake a ball every 25 seconds rather than a solution that he has that you can intake a ball every 3 seconds. That's a truth that you can objectively look at rather than, well, Joe doesn't like my idea because he doesn't like me. So being able to separate those things sometimes really, really helps. And there's just all kinds of techniques in that book that, again, I would recommend you read it if you haven't. Sorry, Joe.
It's okay. No,
Yes. I set you
I
up.
don't want
Now
to cut
you
you
can.
off. You have so many great things to say. Yes.
Oh, I'm all done. And now, Joe, you can
Okay.
sort of, give it to me on the flip side because, I'm sure Lou.
Perfect. I really have a lot of things that I could echo from what they say, but let me just cut it down to a few things. In terms of what I look for in mentors, or what I think makes a great mentor, are people who are really into the eye of first, the inspiration. And if we're keeping in mind that inspiration, then a lot of really good things flow. And so, there are different teams have different ideas about, like, is this all students? Is this all mentors? Is this some mix of the between? I think the yardstick that we need in order to figure that out is what maximizes the inspiration that we're trying to do. And so that, I think, is something that is really important in a mentor. And that if they're focusing on this gets to the conflict, are they modeling behaviors that they think are going to be inspiring to kids? Because honestly, the point of it is for me to waste a bunch of time with a bunch of high school students and for them to think, man, I could be the next Joe Johnson, and so am I doing something that I want them to think like, yeah, you know what, I want some kid aspiring to be, well, maybe my best moments, not me at my worst moments. So that's the kind of thing to really think about. The only thing I can say about conflict here, in terms of when high stress, is that you should keep in mind the central trick of first, which is it feels in the moment like it's really important, but in actual fact, it's the competition, the robot on the field is sort of trivial. So it feels super important. And that's how we get the eye just like bursting out of kids' chests and cheering and all these things, so that they have a lifelong mark of, wasn't that amazing? So they get that. And you know what? This isn't cancer, right? This is not like my life is over if it turns out that if I am personally responsible for losing a match that was the most important match ever, right, of first, in a month, I'm not sure anybody's going to really remember that, right? Maybe I will, because it stings a little bit, but it feels important in the moment, and that's important. That's how come first. Well, and you should keep in mind that ultimately the stakes of individual lives on the team matter so much more than the individual matches and the individual, like, even seasons that we have. So that's something to think about. And then just I have a very short idea that I want to sort of build off of what Luan said, and that's this idea: human beings feel like we're great at mind reading. Everyone feels like they're really good at being able to understand what is going on inside of other people's heads. And a lot of times the conflicts that we have are that it turns out we're really bad at it. We're really bad at being able to look at somebody and saying, oh, this is what they're thinking. I know exactly what they're thinking. And then because I know exactly what they're thinking, then I can then do blah, 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 right? And because we're really bad at it, a big way of resolving conflicts is to actually openly discuss, like, this is what I'm understanding. Is that what you're feeling? You know, being able to sort of have those kind of discussions, and that can really diffuse a lot of conflicts. So.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And just to clarify, we're getting an extra 10 minutes out of schedule just to complete the session. And let me stay on what would be our last question. Well, considering that the previous questions are made of 3 separate questions, so it will be like the 10th question. Anyway, let's stay on the main focus of a mentor. And you said, Joseph, well, Joe, to inspire the kids, to be that inspirational perspective for them. So in terms of inspiring kids, how do you do it? Or how do you think you've been able to do so in the time you've been a mentor? And more specifically, what would be your advice for these new mentors like Paulina or like me, or like all the ones that are watching you right now, to be, well, to be able to stay for 15, 20, 28 years at first and still being full of energy? So first of all, how do you think you've been able to inspire kids? And what would be your advice for new mentors and how to inspire kids? So let me stay with you, Joseph, again, and we'll go all the way through Paulina, then Elizabeth, and finally Luan.
So I think, first of all, being authentic is one of the things that I think is a way of really doing it. But then other than just being like who I am, I think it's mostly just a quantity problem. Like, I don't know how to spend only quality. I'm only going to spend quality time today with my students. It's just that I spend a lot of times with the students. And in retrospect, much of it becomes like, oh, that was really quality time. And then because I'll say it again, because I've wasted a lot of time with these students, like, I have conversations with like the star football player who says, like, all these schools are recruiting me. You know, my mom says I should go to Navy. This person says I should go to Army. I should go to Ohio State. What do you think, Dr. Joe? And like, that is the moment where the skies part and I, like, the angels start singing, because like I spent all year like doing dumb things with this kid so that I would be the person, I'd be among the people that they would ask, because it's like it's building that relationship that Luan talked about again, that then I'm trusted enough that when they're trying to figure out hard things, I'm among the people that they come to. And that is really, I think, the best we can hope for as an inspirational mentor, is that we have built a relationship, I think, mostly through just time and these like fantastic, really stressful but inspiring moments, like, and then we get to the point where they're like, hey, this is a person, an adult in my life that I can ask. And like, you can't see my arms right now, but they're all tingly, like just remembering Cleon coming to me, or remembering like Grant, who's on my current team, and Cleon was on my first team, and the 15 other kids that I could name right now. Just having that is what we really want in mentors. And that's what I think, that's how I think I mentor, is I inspire people, is just by being there and then being authentic and then having enough time.
Thank you, Joseph. Well, Paulina, what could you see in this year as a mentor? It's the key to inspire people.
Okay, so I agree with Joe, like all of it, because I think it's really important to build that relationship so the team members know that you're there and that you can create a safe place for them. But also I think that it's important like to be enthusiastic, because I mean, we're all humans and you don't know what's going on in others people's lives. So maybe they are struggling with something, or they have problems at home, and when they arrive to the workshop, they are with the hope of having a good time and having fun and to learn. And if you create a space where you are enthusiastic and you spread that enthusiasm along all the teammates, I think that's really important so they can have a good time on the workshop.
Thank you. Well, Elizabeth, what could the first person to ever receive the Woody Flowers Award could say about inspiring others? What's the key about it? I think you're muted as yet.
Oh, I know that. You're teeing me up here. I'd like to say something about Woody, that I was lucky enough to be able to be with him and you know, have a relationship, a friendship with him, and really see how he dealt with kids. And a thing that drew me to first was his relationship with kids. Adults would come up around a child that he was talking to, and it didn't matter how important that adult was. He finished the conversation with the child. He showed that child the respect, you know, and made that child feel important. And to me, that's what a mentor does, is you make that person know that they are heard, that they are important, that they're respected. And the fun part just cannot be underrated. I just do silly things on my team that, you know, I just act like I'm having a blast, and it's like a magnet. Kids will come over like, what are you doing that's so much fun, and all that kind of stuff. And it kind of draws them in. And, you know, and if you do that enough times, they start to trust that what you think is fun is what they think is fun, and it builds. And it's, you know, it's what Joe said. You build this trust that they know you're going to be there, that they can rely on what you are. I mean, to me, the biggest part of teaching is that you show up every day. You're there, and they know who you are, and they know how you will react, and you've built that trust in them. And then you inspire them to do good things. I always tell my mentors, you can inspire kids many ways. You can inspire them in good ways, and you can inspire them in bad ways. And we try to minimize the bad ways, but we're all human. And, you know, when you've established the trust with the child, I think it just works.
Thank you. And well, finally, Luan.
Sure. You know, I feel like almost I made little notes as they were before they started talking, and they hit almost all of my notes. So I guess I'll just say a couple of things. The first one is, I think fun is really important, as everyone here has said. And sometimes we find that mentors can be a little bit scary to students. And so one of the things that I've tried to do is maybe step out of my own comfort zone, so that students they can see that it's okay to be afraid to try something new. And it's okay to fail at something new, right? So one of the things that we always did on 3132 was we tried to do some team building activities before the season would start. So that if kids decided they wanted to go on one of those high ropes courses, okay, I am scared to death of heights, not my thing. Okay, but off we went, and I was swinging in the trees with them, like holding my breath and screaming at the top of my lungs. But at the end of it, there were a couple kids who were really afraid to do that as well. And it started that relationship, or that bond going forward, that we could talk about throughout the season of, hey, you remember that day when we were swinging through the ropes like a monkey? And, you know, and everybody laughed together, and we had a lot of fun. I guess inspiration happens when you turn up. It's exactly what Elizabeth was saying, right? You have to turn up. You have to be there. That's the only way. And Joe mentioned it as well, and so did Paulina. But you have to be there for the kids, so that you're not that scary person, and you're not really a friend, but you're kind of a friend and a mentor at the same time. And then I guess the last thing is, you just have to meet them where they are, right? And you have to understand the actual student, because every student is different, and you're going to be able to relate to them in a different way. And the only way to do that is to spend the time. and to have some fun while you're doing it. At one point, I had a 12-year-old dyeing my hair blue and cutting it because I agreed to wear a mohawk if they did something. And 12-year-olds with scissors near your head, probably not a good plan, but they were inspired, let me tell you. So anyway, that's it.
Thank you very much, Luan. And of course, Elizabeth, Paulina, Joseph, thank you very much, first of all, for what you do, from what you've done for the last 10, 20, 28 years in FIRST, for your perspective, for your history, for what I think that what you've done in the last 15, 20 years is actually, giving things today. So we're still watching an echo of what you did 15, 20 years ago. And that's what I think really fuels the mentors of today, including me and all the ones that are watching this webinar. So your background really inspires us, even as mentors. And that's amazing. Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate taking the time to join us in the warm-up, and hopefully we'll have you with us next edition or in 2 years, as long as you want. Thank you very much.